Pupster by Tavio Soto. Chapter 1. Home Sweet Home. Trust City was a wonderful little town set in the rolling hills of central Texas. On any typical day, there was a lot happening. Nearly every shop, from the ice cream parlor to the home improvement store, was abuzz with shoppers. You could see moms with their children looking at flowers or window shopping at the toy store. On the sidewalks, people carried on conversations with old friends. A few dads could be seen drooling over the latest sports cars at the dealership, or even discussing the latest baseball stats with a friend at the pizza joint. Teenagers still rode their bikes through the streets to travel to the park, to the movie theater, to hang out. Trust City, with its tranquil setting, seemed like the perfect place to live. There was one unassuming character that roamed the streets of this serene town. He was a scraggly-haired, short-legged, happy, tongue hanging out of his mouth kind of dog. Nobody really paid him much notice. He would weave in and out of the crowd on his daily walks, just as free as the rest of the people. This dog had yet to be named. The latest person whom he had contact with had called him Shoo, as in, get away from me. That didn't stick though, because it just wasn't a good name for a dog. Honestly, if he had to pick a name for himself, he would like to be called the Brave One, or Strong and Mighty. Really, he'd be happy with Spot too, but he had yet to discover his name. If you hadn't figured it out yet, this is the story of a small in stature yet sprightly dog. What he loves most about his life is that he is completely free. He has no boundaries and no rules. He eats when he wants to eat, walks where he wants to walk, and pees where he wants to pee. In fact, he would often stop at the fire department to relieve himself on the fire truck's tires. Of course, the firefighters would catch him. They would get upset and would either yell at him to scat, or sometimes he would get a free shower from the fire hose. This didn't bother him. It was a small price to pay for his freedom. As far as he could tell, life was pretty good. Life was good, but not great. He didn't have a house. He didn't have a family. Up to this point in his life, he didn't know that having a family was an option for him. Don't feel sorry for him, though. As far as he was concerned, he was the king of the entire town. He loved it. Everything he needed was at his paws. For instance, when he would get bored, he would chase cats in the back alleys. If he wanted to play with other dogs, he would just head over to the dog park. Hungry? No problem. When he was hungry, he would visit the flower shop, where the owner would leave him snacks and a bowl of water. A few buildings down from the flower shop was a Mexican restaurant. It too was an entertaining place. It could be kind of hostile at times because the owners didn't like seeing him around their establishment. The owner's kids, Juan and Susanna, however, loved having the little dog around to play with. They adored him and would sneak him leftover soup bones from the kitchen. The kids sometimes got in trouble for feeding him. When they got caught, their mom would chase them around the restaurant with rolled up newspapers. The kids would run around the table and laugh while being chased. It wasn't serious trouble. It was a big game that even their mom grew to appreciate. Another one of his hangouts was the auto repair shop. The owner's name was Big Tex. He was an older man with a long mustache and a bulging belly. He was known for being grumpy and a man of little words. He snapped at the little dog from time to time, sometimes calling him a mangy mutt. On the other hand, on cold nights, he'd let him sit on his lap while he pet his head and scratched his back. The nicest thing about the shop was that he had a proper bed in the corner next to a stack of tires. This was where he would go when it rained. The good thing was that it rarely rained in Trust City, but when it did, it poured. At the edge of town was an empty grass lot. This was where he spent most of his time. It was a very special place. The grass in this spot was just high enough to hide him from onlookers, and just short enough to allow him to enjoy the cool evening breeze. When he wasn't chasing cats or ducking the rain, he would lay there watching the cars and crowds pass by. Eventually, the streets would empty and most of the people would disappear. All that remained was his picturesque town and a wide open sky with lots of bright, shiny things twinkling back at him. It was the perfect life.